The smell of burned skin filled the basement as he pressed the glowing iron against my arm. I screamed until my voice broke. But in his eyes, I saw only pleasure. A cold, empty smile that promised it wasn't over yet. That's how my hell began. But 3 hours earlier, at a desolate gas station, a young guy encountered another smell he despised, unaware that that night would drag him into my nightmare. I despise the gasoline smell that clings to my hair. But Mom's hospital bills force me to endure the night shift at this desolate station. The cold bites my fingertips, and the air is so still that every sound feels like an intruder. The forest surrounding the station is dark and dense, and when the wind sweeps through the branches, it sounds like a faint, shrill wail, as if something out there is trying to speak. The radio on the counter crackles with news, a monotone voice droning on about missing people in the area. No fingerprints, no traces, the reporter says. I turn down the volume and start mechanically sorting the cigarette packs behind the counter. Just another night, I tell myself, but my gut says otherwise. It's 2:47 when a rumbling sound breaks the silence. I look out through the dirty window and see a black pickup roll into the parking lot. The windows are so dark they seem to swallow the light from the neon sign blinking open. The doorbell creaks as he steps inside. He's tall, with a hood pulled up, casting shadows over his face, and sunglasses hiding his eyes, in the middle of the night. His hands are dirty, nails black with something that looks like dried oil or soot. 3 Marlboro, 6 Falcon, he says, his voice like gravel against metal, rough and broken. I hand over the bags without a word, and he tosses a wad of crumpled bills. As he turns to leave, I see something in the back seat of the pickup through the window, a silhouette, like a hand pressed against the glass. I blink, and it's gone. Am I starting to hallucinate from exhaustion? He disappears into the darkness, and I'm left standing with a creeping feeling down my spine. On the counter lies a crumpled note he must have dropped. Pick it up and read, cigarettes, beer, rope, duct tape. What a strange list, I think. I crumple it up and toss it in the trash. 1 hour later, everything I thought I knew about this night shatters. The door flies open with a crash, and a woman stumbles in. Her clothes are torn, jeans stained with dirt and blood. The skin on her arms and neck is covered in burn marks, perfect, round marks, like someone pressed a glowing rod against her. Her eyes are bloodshot, and her hair sticks to her forehead with sweat. She grabs my arm, nails digging in. He has a basement, by the sawmill, she gasps. I heard him talk about a last victim. I think it's me. Her voice is broken with fear, and before I can answer, I hear tires screeching on the asphalt outside. The pickup screeches to a halt, and he steps out with long, determined strides. In his hand, he holds a crowbar. I lunge for the emergency lock button under the counter, and the doors click shut just as his hand reaches the handle. Through the glass, I meet his face for the first time. His skin is pale and worn, and when he smiles, he shows too many teeth. An unnatural, wide mouth that turns my stomach. "What's your name?" he says, his voice lowered to a hiss through a small crack in the window. I realize he looked at my name tag earlier. He already knows. The woman crouches behind me and whispers. He burns patterns on us, calls it art. He has a police radio in the basement, listens to everything they say. Her breath is sour, like she hasn't eaten in days. Suddenly, the lights go out, and the station plunges into pitch black. A metallic crash echoes from the back. He's smashed the electrical box. "I know you're here," his voice reverberates through the darkness, calm and ice-cold. A loud scrape comes from the back door. He slams the crowbar into it, and the wood splinters around the lock. The door flies open, and his silhouette fills the frame. "Home," he growls, and I hear a laugh behind the words. We stumble toward the storage room in the dark, but when we shut the door behind us, I see there's no lock on the inside. We squeeze between boxes and shelves, and I peek out through a crack. He must have broken in through the back door. I grab an emergency hammer from the wall, and we rush forward. Chaos erupts. Glass shatters under my feet. Shelves topple with deafening crashes. The woman grabs a fire extinguisher and sprays foam straight into his face. He roars, an animalistic sound, and swings the crowbar at her. She falls hard, blood seeping from her temple, pooling darkly. I manage to land a kick to his head and grab her. "Out!" I scream. She's dazed but follows, and we run out the back door, straight into the foggy forest. Branches lash at us like whips, tearing our skin and tangling our legs. His footsteps thunder behind us, heavy and relentless. The forest feels alive, as if it's working with him, holding us back. We stumble toward an old hunting cabin, its door covered in peeling paint and locked. We pound on it in desperation, but no one answers. The fog thickens, and he steps out from the shadows. In one hand, he holds a knife, in the other, the crowbar. His breathing is heavy, and behind the sunglasses, his gaze feels like an empty abyss. Sirens wail faintly in the distance, help or just an echo of my own panic. We pound on the cabin door, but he catches up to us. He swings the crowbar from behind, and a hard blow strikes my head. The world spins, blood runs into my eyes, and I collapse into the mud. The woman screams, but he grabs her brutally by the hair and punches her square in the face. She slumps, unconscious, as he drags her toward the shadows. I wake up by the cabin, my body aching, and the blood crusted in my hair. A buzzing fills the air. A helicopter sweeps over the treetops. Dogs bark at the edge of the woods, and I see flashlights approaching through the fog. I try to stand, but my legs give out beneath me. The police find me at last, battered and half dead, and a voice shouts, "He's alive." An older cop drapes a blanket over my shoulders while my thoughts spin. Where is she? Where is he? Hours earlier, a customer had stepped into the station, seen shattered glass and toppled shelves, and called 911. The police followed the tracks into the woods with dogs and helicopters. And now I'm here. But she's gone. Meanwhile, in a dark basement, she wakes up tied, back where she started. He steps out of the darkness with a smoking iron, and in his eyes she sees pleasure as he presses it against her skin. Her screams echo into the void. The radio crackles. A woman was found dead in a basement by the sawmill, tortured with burn marks and brutal head injuries. The perpetrator remains at large, and police warn the public to be extra cautious after dark. If you like this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel.